Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Douglas and I make fishing videos and tutorials to hopefully inspire you to go out, try new fishing methods and to help you catch more fish. Well, today guys, you join me back on the shore and I'm here today because, or this morning, very early this morning, in my last video I managed to catch my first mackerel of 2024 and I cooked it right here on the shore. And ever since then, which was 2 or 3 weeks ago now I think, maybe longer, I've just had this craving for fresh mackerel ever since then. So I'm back here again today to do another little video, catch and cook, and I've got a superb method to show you. It's super simple, super easy and quick. And I've got a little super tasty recipe to show you, which I think even the kids will love. So yeah, I'm here this morning, have a bit of breakfast hopefully, and catch some mackerel. Now if you see some smoke floating about, I'm not sending smoke signals out. I've got my Smokin Midge, which I've started using recently, and it's a brilliant piece of kit. It's made in Scotland, it's made by an angler from the Highlands, and in the Highlands the midges are especially bad, and he's developed this repellent, if you like. It's not 100% foolproof, it's going to get rid of the midges, but it certainly keeps them at bay, and the midges are particularly bad this morning here in the west coast of Scotland. So I've got it on and it's doing the trick, it's keeping them at bay. I will leave some links of the Smokin Midge in the description so you can go and check it out, read some of the reviews, etc., and make your mind up whether it's something you would like to try. But anyway, I'm using it today and it's certainly doing the business. So today guys, in terms of method, because I'm here, just a short session. In fact, I'm not long finished work. I left the house this morning after getting in from work at 4:05. It's now 4:30 just now, and as I said, this is just going to be a quick session of a little bit of breakfast on the beach and show you this super tasty recipe. Now the method I'm using is super simple. It's for you guys, anyone to go out there, give this a bash, and that's the reason I'm doing this video again. Now I'm not going to go into super detail on the rig, the rod, etc., because in my last video I will leave a link at the end and you can go and check that out where I do go into a little bit of detail about it. But today is just about showing you how easy it is to catch mackerel and to have a cook up right on the shore and have a fantastic day, especially in the summer. Hi guys, so all set up, and just to show you the time is now 0443, so all set up just now. Got the phone on charge as I've been up all night. It's run out of battery, so I've got it in charge in my pocket, and yeah, we'll get the first cast done. Now I don't want to be here too long guys, it's still early in the morning, so it's nice and quiet. I'm next to a busy road. That road is going to get busy about 7 o'clock for the traffic going that way, and yeah, hopefully we just get some fish really quick, start the cook up and get home, get some sleep, ready for night shift tonight. So I've got my bucket, water ready, and this Smokin Midge is working tremendously. So the guy that developed the Smokin Midge, like I said, fisherman from the Highlands of Scotland, and because of the smoke, it's the smoke that sort of disguises the carbon dioxide in your breath as you breathe out. And he believes that the midges, or the midge, that's what they are attracted to, that's what they home into, is that carbon dioxide as you breathe out. And like I said, it's certainly working a treat. It's keeping the swarm away. You can feel the odd one or two, but I can put up with that. Any more than that and I probably wouldn't be fishing. So when I get cast out, I've got my mackerel feathers on, a trace of 5, a little lure, and like I said, I'll put a link at the end of the video of what I'm actually using. Now the tide at the moment is high tide. Yeah, I can't see the damn patches, so it's either still on the way in, but it's not got much longer to go. So first cast, here we go. I'll let that sink 10 seconds. Now if you haven't seen my previous videos on mackerel fishing, I've done most of them at this venue, and this venue is quite shallow, close in, and then it drops away quite sharply, probably about 40 yards out, and then it drops down into deeper water between 30 and 50 feet. And so because it's quite shallow, close in, I've got to keep an eye on what I'm doing as I'm bringing in my lures, so that I don't get snagged on that shelf. And that's a big mistake that many people do, especially if they go to a new venue. They'll just cast in, they'll let their lure or their weight sink to the bottom with no idea what that bottom is like, and they end up losing a lot of tackle. So this cast, I'm going to let it sink to the bottom, and I'm just casting as far as I can. Now you'll notice that I put the bail arm on straight away. I'm using braid, so it's got zero stretch, and I can feel that lure going all the way to the bottom. That's it, hit the bottom just now. And just jigging and winding, and then I'll do that for a few winds, knowing that I'm getting closer to that ledge. And we're in, guys. Fantastic. Now I'm winding in quite fast because I don't want the fish to get caught up in the ledge. And this feels like there's quite a few fish on this. Might be a full header. Oh, lovely size, perfect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quick dispatch. Now the majority of these are quite small, apart from the one, so I don't want to take small ones. Just shake them off, try not to touch them. Got one on the lure, on the circle hook. I've got to touch this one to get it unhooked, unfortunately. That will swim away strong. So I've kept 1 out of 5. The others were just too small. That bigger one, perfect. It's not bad. Second cast. Just untangle. So I'm going to do, because I know there's fish there at the bottom, I'm going to keep casting there until I stop getting bites. If the bites dry up, then I'll do cast in, maybe wait 5 seconds, cast in 10 seconds, cast in 15 seconds and let it hit the bottom again until I can locate the fish. Now I'm not after many fish, I'm only wanting a few fish just to do a little cook up as I hit the bottom. And as I was saying, as I'm approaching that shelf, like now, I'm just going to wind in, straight wind to get over that shelf, otherwise I'll just lose what tackle I've got. And recast, maybe try a slightly different direction, maybe go slightly to my left rather than going straight out, which was 3 casts straight out in front of me. Because that shoal will be moving, the shoal of mackerel will be moving in search of bait. It's weird, the smoke's died down in this and I can feel the midges around me. So yeah, if you want to release the mackerel, it is much better to try and not touch them as much as you can. Sometimes it's unavoidable if the hook's not going to fall out. But all I do is I grab the shank of the hook and just shake them off. Quick wind, getting closer to that ledge. I think I felt a bump there. The fish. Try a different area, I'm going to try to the right just in case they moved right, and let it sink to the bottom as that's where the fish were. So bail arm on, tension on the line, I can feel that going through the depths, and because of the braid with zero stretch you sometimes get hits on the way down. You can actually feel the fish hitting the lure or the mackerel feathers on the way down. And obviously you'll be counting down, so if you get hits maybe 12 seconds, then you know that's the sort of depth that they were at. Yeah, the smoke stopped on the Smokin Midge and I can just feel the midges around my head. I'll give you a little look, guys. So inside you can see one of the cones is not burnt down, the other one has just come to an end, and I had 3 in there and I lit 2, kept 1, but 2 have burnt out, and it just shows you, that cone is burnt out and the midges are around me. So I'm going to put another couple in there and light them. What I'm doing, guys, so I've put 1 in already. Blow out some of that ash. There's 4 little spikes in the bottom of the tin, and that's the 3 in. Got the wife's lighter for our candles, and I'm going to light 2. So what you do is you light the ends of the cones. Once it's lit for a couple of seconds, you blow it out and then the smoke starts. So glad I've got this today. Comes with a handy strap that you, elasticated strap, you put on your arm, and away we go. And that's on the shelf. Okay, so that's not very good. Even though, you know, I sort of know what I'm doing here on this venue, I still lost nearly a whole trace of mackerel feathers. I've got one left. Now, I only had one full set of mackerel feathers with me, and that one lure. I've got half a set of mackerel feathers. In fact, I think there's only 2 on it, might be 3. I'm going to join this onto that. I've got some weights with me, and I'll carry on using the weights. Alright guys, I'm 50 yards along the beach, and we'll see what it's like here. And the felt fish hit that on the way down. Something certainly hit it. Yep. See what I mean, guys? If you feel the tension on the line, the fish will tell you where they are if they're there. So I'm winding in quite fast. Just to get it over that ledge. Don't want the fish getting hung up on the ledge. And this feels like a full trace of fish. Either that, they're really big. Three. The question is, are they big enough? No, I'm not going to keep them. I just think they're too small. So, quick flick off the hook. Get this one away. That was 8 fish now, and only one decent size between the 8. Now, like I say, I could have kept them. They're definitely close to the 30 centimetres, but you know, when you get a decent sized mackerel like I've got, I'm only going to need maybe three mackerel at the most of that size. Although one will give me a nice breakfast. But like I said, I want to show you something, a really tasty recipe. And we're in again. Yes. Come on, fishies. Be big. How many we got? Another 3. Another 3 again, guys. These are going back, they're just not big enough. Absolutely no point in keeping fish that size just to get a tiny fillet off them, and I'm not going to do it just to do a video. Small ones again. The bottom one's half decent, but it's going back. Bit of a change of direction in casting a bit to the right this time. Thought that was a bump. Yeah, they're in. This certainly feels a lot heavier. It's either 4 or some big ones. Come on, get the big ones. Yeah, they're decent size. Come on. Oh, yes. Now that's better mackerel. Look at the size of that bottom one. What a clonker. Much better. Oh, perfect fish. Now I've got enough for the cook up just now. 6 nice fillets. That will give me the cook up. Perfect. So guys, before I get into the cooking, I just want to go over a couple of things. On the last video, had a lot of great feedback as usual, and I do appreciate that from all you guys. And I started getting obviously a few questions about mackerel, and one of them was how I keep the mackerel. Now today I've got them in my little bucket, and normally for a short session, anything between 1 and 3 hours, I would normally take a bucket with me, keep them in some fresh seawater, keep them nice and cold, and that keeps them, you know, a reasonable condition until you get home or whatever it is you're doing with them. Now if I'm going for a whole day fishing, you know, maybe travelling somewhere, or I'm just out for the whole day and I'm expecting to catch a few mackerel, I normally take a cool box with me. Take some ice blocks or some crushed ice, put them in the cool box and keep them nice and cold, you know, until you get back home. And I do think it's really important that you do keep, especially mackerel, cold, because they are an oily fish. They do turn very quickly. And you know, you see it all the time, you know, when you go fishing, especially when there's crowds, and you just see the mackerel, you know, stewing away, almost boiling the bag in a carrier bag. And that is just no good for the quality of the fish. And, you know, in terms of food safety, it's not the best idea. So whatever you do with your mackerel, guys, try and keep them as cold as possible, as long as possible, until you get home, and then you can put them in the fridge or whatever it is you're going to do with them. So today, guys, for the cooking, I'm going to be smoking the mackerel. Now I did smoke the mackerel in the last video, but rather than just eating the mackerel just smoked, I'm going to do something really tasty and show you guys, and it is super simple. But I'm going to be using my little biscuit tin. Now, a guy commented saying, you know, you shouldn't cook in aluminium, and you shouldn't really cook in aluminium because it does give off some harmful fumes when it's heated. Now, this is tin, it's made of tin. I know it's tin because it rusts, and it is rusting, and aluminium doesn't rust. So that's just one thing to bear in mind when cooking it in an enclosed device like a smoker, that it's not 100% aluminium. So this little biscuit tin's done me well. It's not that big. I think it's 25 centimetres by 25 centimetres square. It's about 10 centimetres deep. And obviously, as you see, it's been used. I use this for cooking as well as smoking on the beach, and I've got a little grill which I'll show you that goes on there, and I've got 4 bolts with nuts, stainless steel, goes through each side, and that's just where my grill pan or my grill tray goes onto. It stays away from the heat source so that the fish doesn't overcook and dry out too quickly. And obviously the lid. Now, it's not a 100% sealed lid, and I don't really want a 100% sealed lid, especially for smoking. I do want some smoke to be released, just to get rid of that sort of acrid smoke taste. So I'll crack on. I'll show you filleting one mackerel just to show you guys, and while I'm filleting the mackerel, I'm also going to start doing a bit of prep. And today, guys, you know, I've done a bit of prep at home, not a lot, but I just don't want to take the kitchen sink with me when I go fishing. You know, you take enough gear fishing, especially, you know, when I've got camera gear and all that sort of thing. So I do a bit of preparation at home, put things in jars, cut it up, chop it up, slice it up in preparation. And that's what I'd advise you guys if you're going fishing. It's more practical, you know, to take as much pre-prep stuff with you. It cuts down in space, it cuts down on the amount of gear that you need to take. You don't need individual jars of this, individual packets of that, etc, etc. And I'll show you the ingredients that I've done pre-prepped, just to give you an idea of what I'm doing and how I'm using it. So I'll just give you an idea of one of the biggest fish, a lovely sized mackerel. So as I said, this tin is 25 centimetres, and as I said before, that the minimum legal size limit for mackerel in the UK is 30 centimetres, and as you can see, that is well over 40 centimetres. It's more like 45 centimetres. That is a colossal mackerel. Can't even get my hand all the way around it. So I'll show you how to fillet this fish, the first one. Now, I've not gutted it, just kept it in the bucket of water. So I'm going to make a cut, take the knife behind the pectoral fin, gently cut down to the backbone, and you can feel that with the knife, you know, it's not going to go any further. Turn the knife along the backbone so it's flat, and just ease the knife gently along the backbone. Fish is too big for the cutting board. That was a terrible fillet. So again, knife behind the pectoral fin, down to the backbone, and you can feel that there. Angle the knife flat along the backbone and just gently cut towards the tail, not adding too much pressure. Don't want to cut through the backbone. Give that a little clean of the guts. There you go, a beautiful fillet. So guys, for the smoker, like I explained in my last video, I keep my smoking chips in a little Ziploc bag, and what I've done with these before I came out, in fact I did them yesterday, I soak them in water, so I fill the little bag up with water with the chips inside, leave them for about 15 minutes, and then I drain all the excess water off. And the reason I do that is because you get a much slower burn when it comes to smoking, and the wood chips don't burn completely most of the time because I'm only going to be smoking this for 9 minutes. Now the last time I done 10 minutes and I just thought it was a minute over, so I'm going to do 9 minutes this time round. And so like I said, just keeps them damp, get a little bit slower burn, and they don't burn off completely. I think when they burn off completely you do get an acrid taste. And I'm just going to put a little handful of these chips. Now these chips are beechwood, which gives a mild smoky flavour, and for fish I do prefer a mild wood chip, or that gives off a mild smoky flavour. So other wood chips that are quite mild in flavour for fish is things like alder. Applewood's quite mild, believe it or not. Chestnut, and I think there's one other that I would sort of go between. I can't remember it off the top of my head. So yeah, this one's beech. So just a small handful, and I've still got all that left in my bag. Just space them about where the heat source is going to be from my little gas grill, and I've had this for a long time. It's a little bit melted where it overheated once, and I've got it on a sort of level-ish surface. Just pushed up some gravel underneath it. So I'm just going to put the lid on just now while I prepare the fish. And for the grill, I've got a stainless steel grill. I've got a couple of little wires on it, just so that I can lift it on and off once the heat's on. Now the last time I did 2 mackerel fillets, because I only caught 1 mackerel. So this time I've got 6 fillets, and I'm going to try and space them on here. Now they'll probably be touching initially, but as soon as that lid goes on and the heat builds up, those mackerel are going to shrink by almost a third because they're so fresh. You will get some shrinkage in fresh mackerel or any other fish that is super fresh like this. So I'm just going to take off the excess water just now. I've got some kitchen towel, just going to give them a dab dry on both sides. And the last time when I did the mackerel, I cut off the belly meat, and that's because I ate the mackerel straight from the smoker. But this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I'm not worried about this belly meat just now, because I'm going to remove that before I actually eat it, and just after the mackerel's been smoked. It's going to be a tight push to get the 6 on, but I'm going to try it. There's no way I did say the last time, maybe if I caught 3 of these small mackerel, maybe get 6 fillets on, but because the fillets are so big, I'm going to get 4 on here for sure. So what I'm going to do is just turn them skin side up just now, as I'm going to season them first on the skin side, then turn them over and finish them. So quick hand dry, and in my little zip bag is freshly ground black pepper with some sea salt, and that's pretty much all I use for seasoning. I like to keep it as simple as possible, although I am going to be doing something a bit different with the recipe. In terms of seasoning, I do like to keep it as simple as possible. I like to taste the fish because they're so fresh. But mackerel do take on other flavours really well. They do take on flavours like spices. Curry's a really good one. You know, you can make some really nice concoctions, and the mackerel will take the seasoning really well. So I'm going to generally season them skin side. That will help to stop them sticking to the grill. Generous season. Just love the colours on mackerel. And then now I'm going to place these as best that I can in order to get the four on. They will be touching initially, but like I said, I'm going to get a lot of shrinkage because the fish is so fresh. Perfect. And then generous season on the flesh side. Now you may think that I'm doing a lot of seasoning, but it does take the seasoning really well. And even though I'm only smoking for a short time, you know, the salt will act as a little cure to the flesh. That'll do it. Don't want to overdo it. And because I've got the wires on, obviously going to take the lid off. Just engage the propane tank, put it on, and we got fire, guys. Now what I like to do to start with, now obviously there's a little bit of moisture in the chips, and that will create a little bit of steam as well, and that's what you can see at the moment. There's no actual smoke coming from the chips at the moment, but because I'm sitting here downwind, as soon as I can smell some smoke generating, that's when I'm going to put the fish on, put the lid on, and then I'm going to turn the heat down to a low setting and cook that for 9 minutes. So I've got smoke, guys, so the fillets are going on. Just ease the wire. Put that lid on gently, turn the gas down, and that's going to be 9 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some crostinis, and I've got some ciabatta bread, and crostini is just a posh name for little bits of toast. I've got a little wire rack that I've got from my shed, and I'm just going to toast them over the open flame of the grill or the little cooker and toast them up. I'm going to do maybe half a dozen slices. They're not a bad size, so substantial breakfast for me. And once I've done that, we'll prepare the rest of the mackerel, and I'll put it all together and I'll show you what it's like. So we'll open the fish. The tin's a little bit cooler, it's still a bit warm, but it's cool enough to handle. Just get the lid off and see how it looks. Beautiful. As you can see, guys, lovely smoked bit of mackerel, and as you can see as well, it has shrunk by about 1/3 in size. We've now got all these gaps between the fish, and the fish is lovely and moist for the 9 minutes. Absolutely perfect. So what I'm going to do just now, guys, is I'm going to pick the smoked fish apart. Now for me, having the fish like this, a little bit of salt and pepper, not messing about with it too much, for me that's perfect. You know, I'll have that any day of the week. But because I want to show you guys something different, you know, if you're out on a picnic and you go fishing, you've got the kids with you, you do this little recipe and I'm sure the kids are going to absolutely enjoy it. So in my rush this morning, I did forget my wooden mixing bowl that I was going to put all the fish into. So I've used one of the containers that I had some other ingredients, and I'm going to just break the fish apart, taking out any bones. So nice and warm. That skin should just peel off beautifully. Natural oils are just coming out, and like I said, I left the rib cage on where the belly is, and these bones just come out really easily because it's cooked. So moist. Nice big chunks. I'm not wanting this fish broke up too much. I want to taste the nice chunks, removing any little bones as you come across them. And at this stage, guys, this little bit of broken up smoked mackerel, you could do so much with this. And believe me guys, it makes the best fish cakes. It will knock your socks off. And another part of the ingredients that I've pre-done at home is in this little tub here. I've got finely shredded cilantro, or otherwise known as coriander, fresh coriander, and some finely shredded chives, or snipped, you know, with scissors. Done that at home. So I'm going to do a good generous pinch of this. Generous pinch. So guys, I said at the start of before I started cooking that, you know, it is worthwhile doing a bit of preparation, and that's what I've done today, and that's what I would do for any time I'm going cooking on the shore, especially, is to try and do as much as at home as possible. Try and condense everything, you know, with less packaging, less bottles. You know, it's all well and good taking loads of bottles of this and loads of bottles of that, but you've got to take it there, you've got to get it back. And, you know, I could make this look pretty in some different cartons or different jars, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're fishermen, and you want to take the minimum amount of equipment as possible. So in terms of preparation, I've done the majority of that at home. So the main part of this ingredients, guys, that goes with obviously the ciabatta for the crostini, or whether you use sourdough or any other crusty bread, is what's in this little jar. Now in this little jar there's a few ingredients. The main part is just plain mayonnaise. The majority is plain mayonnaise. I've got a teaspoon of lemon juice. I have a splash of Worcestershire sauce. I have a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And the main part of this sauce that elevates the mackerel from being here to here is horseradish sauce. Now believe it or not, horseradish sauce with smoked fish, it just, I don't know what it is, but it just elevates the flavour. And you do think of horseradish sauce obviously being for roast beef, the main accompaniment, but it works so well with this dish, and it works so well with other smoked fish, like smoked salmon for instance. And I urge you to give it a try, guys. Now I haven't seasoned it with salt and pepper because there's enough salt and pepper on the fish. And for the sauce, guys, just put in what you think. I don't want it too wet, but I want it enough to hold together. You know, normally I would have some maybe olive oil drizzled on the crostini, just to add something different. You could just put a plain bit of butter on it. You know, if you're at home, I'm not going to certainly bring butter out on a fishing trip unless I've got it in a cool box. So a few generous dollops of the sauce. That'll probably do for now. See how that coats it. And like I said, I want to try and keep the chunks as big as possible. They will break up slightly obviously as you're mixing it, and especially because I've got such a small dish. And as I'm doing that, I'm still looking for the odd bone, and this would mix much better, guys, in a bigger bowl. Can't believe I left it. And that's the mix, guys. Not too wet, don't want too much liquid in there. And I've also got some pre-sliced tomatoes that I had in that little tub that I'm doing the mixing in, and I've got a fresh lemon, should you want to squeeze a bit of fresh lemon over the top of the crostini when you're done. So I'll go ahead and build this up. So that's it, guys, that's my smoked mackerel and horseradish pate on crostini. It is a little bit much to be on the beach, especially for me, but this is a superb recipe, guys, and I do urge you to try it, even if it's just putting that little bit of horseradish with a little bit of mayonnaise. Honestly, guys, it just lifts it to another level, and I urge you to give it a try. And guys, if you're new to the channel, and I didn't go much into how I was fishing today in terms of the rig, etc. If you want to see more of that, I'll leave a link below. Check the video out, and that shows you a little bit more in depth of the rig that I'm using, which is super simple. And as I said, that is my go-to rig when I want to just catch some mackerel quickly, either for something to eat or for bait, and it's well worth giving it a try, guys. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Tight lines, and I'll see you next time on Piscator UK. Absolutely beautiful.